Okay, mom. Sometimes when the coffee hits,
It hits you like this.
and it's the hit you need. I need somebody to prepare me sometimes.
So funny.
Welcome back.
Welcome back, everybody.
Before we even begin, we want to say happy Wednesday.
Yes.
And then we also want to say, please subscribe to our channel. We're trying to hit Mission 10K.
Mission 10K.
If you've already gotten there by the time this episode comes out, Mission 20K. Please, y'all, we will appreciate it.
Hook us up.
If you're following us on Instagram or TikTok, move on over and just subscribe to the channel. Give us those 5 stars on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. We would really, really, really appreciate it. And follow us on our socials because that's where all the fun stuff's happening.
That is where all the fun stuff happens.
Right?
I think so too.
That's where the parties started.
That's where we share little tidbits of our life.
We're bringing it back, baby.
We're bringing it back.
It's Fazool and Fire time.
Ooh. I got
Let's
some
go.
good ones. Okay, you're going first. You're
Right,
going
cool.
first.
Fazool and Fire, matcha.
Oh, you know what? It's all right. I don't know if it's Fazool or I don't know if it's fire. I think it's like somewhere in the beach vitch. I don't know.
No, it's a bitch.
It's a bitch. It's a bitch because you know there's things that I've had with matcha in it that I'm like, oh, this is really good. Like
Okay.
I had like matcha cookies and I was like, oh, they're probably one of my favorite cookies that I've had from this like specific bakery.
Okay.
But then there's things I've had with matcha and I'm like, ye kya ghas hai? Like I cannot.
Guys,
Then I'm like,
matcha is 100% goss and I am not here for it.
hai Fazool
मैं
वैसे.
बहुत फजूल है. I feel like people try to be all like, oh, I'm a
Trendy.
matcha girly.
Yeah.
I am not a matcha girly.
You're a matcha
Give me-
girly for the Instagram.
Yeah.
Not you.
Not
but
me.
I'm saying that girl
That girl.
is a matcha girly for the Instagram.
Give me all the caffeine. Give me the black coffee. Give me it with
Yeah.
cream. Give me it with sugar. Make it all fancy. Put
Okay,
it
but let
with
me ask
ice.
you. Is it matcha green tea?
It is. But it's a different form of the way that they make it. Oh. So there's like special tools to make
like
matcha.
that brush thing that they use.
Yeah. The process is really cool.
Yeah. I would do that.
But I don't think I'd ever. I've had like a matcha drink from somewhere. Y'all, it
Not-
was gross. I
don't
was like,
do
this is
that
the
to
worst
her.
$6 I've spent.
Okay, this is so off topic, but why the hell are like coffees and shit so expensive?
I don't know, man.
Like you're telling me, okay, I don't know if you've heard about Erewhon, okay? People be buying this Hailey Bieber smoothie for like $40,000. Like I'm like, it's like an $18 smoothie or something.
for what?
For what?
Am I gonna
Calories.
look like Hailey Bieber?
I honestly, yeah. Then I would drink 12 of them.
Then I would be
drink
line
all of
after
them.
line. But
Okay.
if it's just gonna be a regular, I'll just have the milkshake my mom's gonna make.
Absolutely. Put some roux afza in there. We good.
She'll add a couple strawberries and be like, oh, healthy hai. Strawberry डाली hai.
Okay. Fazool or fire, Toronto slang. We're so guilty of this at times.
The whole slang itself is fazool.
Yeah.
But sometimes the way I talk
comes out.
and it just comes out.
It just
then
comes
it's
out.
Fire. If
Then-
we do it, it's fire.
If we do it, it's fire, okay? When other people do it, it's Fazool. Okay.
But sometimes they'll just say things in full-on sentences, and every single word is a slang, and I can't wrap my head around it.
There's these videos that people do where they like interview people at malls.
Yeah.
And they'll be like, something, fam. Something, and I'm just looking at them like, do I sound like that?
We probably do.
So, no, we're like a little bit classier. Okay?
We're like Toronto slang with
Itni
class.
hamari besti na karo.
So I heard it's a mix of like UK slang.
I feel like it is.
From what I heard, correct
Yeah.
me if I'm wrong. We've got a lot of UK following. Is it like a mix of UK slang?
I think it is because we've gotten a lot of comments where people have said that.
Yeah.
It's like a mix of UK slang. So let
But-
us know, guys.
Guys, sometimes it's fire because sometimes you just need something from that Toronto slang to cherry on top of what you're trying to say.
Imagine if we were just like, hello, everyone. Welcome to our etiquette class today. Like, how boring would it be?
We'd be like, yo,
Nobody would laugh. Exactly. I would be sleeping.
All right. Fazool or fire, jeans under a dress or a long top.
Nah. No, Fazool. But some people really style it well, okay? So I would have to see the top to make a just decision. Judge it. I would have to see it, okay? Like sometimes people wear these like kulli dulli jeans and then they like have this shirt on top that I'm like, the style, like there's nothing there. Shape hi nahi hai, style hi nahi hai, like cinch the waist a little, like, you know, you're a little bit like, this is not going. But some people do like a shirt with like the jeans and it actually looks good on them.
I think, yeah, I 100% agree with you. It varies on the style of the jeans.
Yeah.
And the style and length of the top. Right?
Sometimes you do a jean with a shirt and I actually think it looks hot on you.
Thanks, yo.
But I could never pull it off.
I think you can.
No, I cannot. I just can't. I know I can't.
I think we need to have a like competition here.
You know what it is?
Okay,
I have like thunder thighs and you have like the slim thighs. So like on you, when you wear a straight jean, it actually looks straight. Mine looks like she's wearing a fitted jean. It's not a straight jean. It's the truth. I'm gonna own my shit, okay? Like, let's be real here, okay?
I do have to say though, I think it's Fazool. I think it's Fazool because I feel, and this is just Aruja's opinion. Y'all take it with a grain of salt, okay? But I feel like if you have a very, very slim figure, you can pull it off really well. I mean like really slim, okay? Yeah. But I feel like I'm not that way. And growing up,
I feel like you are.
Girl, super slim.
Okay, like.
And growing up, when we were younger, we always had to wear jeans under our tops, under dresses, and I hated it.
I feel like
because girls would show up in tights.
Yeah.
And I wasn't allowed to wear tights.
Oh, my parents had a thing with tights too. They were like,
I wasn't allowed to wear it. Yeah. And then when I was finally allowed to wear it, then it had to be with a dress that covered my body. Yeah. Right? But for the longest time, I was not allowed to wear tights. So we had to wear pants under our tops or dresses. And I just hated it. And then on top of that, we're wearing a shirt under the dress because it's sleeveless. So like a shirt with a sleeveless dress and jeans and sneaker underneath, okay? Socks up to your knees.
उसके ऊपर भी कोट पहनो.
उसके ऊपर भी मेरी अम्मी कहेंगे चादर ले लो, cover your छाती. Like, bro.
It gets to be a little bit, especially in the summertime because the jeans are thick, yo.
I'm boiling.
And then you're supposed to sit there like, I'm good. I'm not hot at all.
It's the style. You're trying to convince other people it's the style when it's not the style. It's your mom.
That's so true. That's so true. Okay. Fazool or fire when people write no boxed gifts on invites.
That's fire. I'm just saying it. That's fire. I don't want anybody showing up with a dumpy at my events.
You know what?
I'm out here trying to clink it. Like, I wonder what this is.
I'm about to your event now. I'm 100% bringing it. You know what? Okay, for me, it's like, ideally, it's like, rivaji nahi aajkal ka, right?
Yeah.
It's not even, that's not how it is these days. Where it's like, it just makes more sense to give someone cash or like money, right? But you know why I'm always a little bit hesitant to like put that on an invitation? Because I'm like, oh my God, like what if someone is genuinely like not able to? And then they feel this pressure. Maybe I'm just being like, you know, for me, it's like, I just don't want to write it. They should just know, you know, that's the way I am.
But has it ever happened where that's the case and somebody showed up with a boxed gift?
That I never wrote it?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure that that has happened. But honestly, I swear to God, I'm not lying. Not surface level. I'm being serious. I am the type where it's like, I think whatever someone gets you is like, that was really kind of you to think of me. That's how I am. But I also understand why people are like, well, I don't want to box gifts. But hey, I've also been the recipient of re-gifted box gifts. We talked about this. So in those situations, I was a little bit like, all you had to do was go to the dollar store. Like in that sense, I'm like, you could have just whited out the name. In that sense, I'm like, I understand the reasoning. Or don't give the card. Okay, but
why did you have to re-gift to that extent?
Once the name was written on the box, so it's like, what were you supposed to do then? You can't white out the box, you know. So yeah, I'm a little bit like that, where I'm like, you know what? I think it's because of my parents.
Okay,
it's 100% because of them, because they're always like, never ever write something like that on an invitation. My parents were like, hell no. So like, it didn't happen. On my sister's wedding, no one wrote that. No.
I'm very pro like, box gifts on the invites.
Pro no box gift. I was like, box gift?
No.
But I understand that.
No box
because
gifts.
I think the vast majority of people would write that on their invitation.
And the thing is, I think it's only, here is my hot take.
Yeah.
I think it's only valid for weddings.
Okay,
I think if you're doing like a sweet 16 birthday or an akika or something, baby shower, I don't think you need to write it on that.
I don't think you would either, because I feel like, okay, like for a baby shower, let's say, if someone brings your baby kapde and stuff, you need the damn kapde. Let's be real.
Yeah, and like you can't help it, because I feel like people get so excited, and for parents or for people who don't have kids, they look at all the clothes and they're like, oh my God, they're so cute. I want to get this. I want to get this. And that's, hey, we've fallen into that trap. It's real, right?
Or the registries. You know how people have registries?
So that's the thing. I think registry is a really great way to go
think so
about
too,
baby
yeah.
showers and bridal showers. I think for birthdays, nah, like you don't need to be ready.
It's whatever. Yeah. Birthdays, whatever.
Everybody's gonna be out here getting you a leapfrog.
Unless you're going to a vast birthday party at like a banquet hall. It's like you're 6. You know how people just go all out?
Yeah, for like sweet 16.
I wanted my mom and dad to do that for my birthday.
Yeah,
My
me
mom
too.
and dad were like, "What's a birthday?" You didn't get it.
Mom's
No,
like, "You're
banquet
16?"
hall birthday.
I thought you were 8.
Ain't
Yo,
that the
what
truth?
is it with they see parents never remembering their kids' age?
Oh my gosh, I know.
Why?
Like there would be times that I would quiz them, and I'd be like, "You got 4 of us, so like let's break it down. How old am I, and what was my date of birth?"
Yeah,
I
they can.
ask, and then they sometimes they get it, but then sometimes they're off by a year, and I'm looking at them like, "You've got to be kidding me right now."
There were times
I'm your child.
and there were times when my dad would be introducing us to people and they'd look at my sister and they'd be like, she's 12 and she's 8. First of all, we don't have a 4-year age gap. Also, I'm not 8. I was actually at the time like 14.
Oh my god! Right?
Yeah, my dad was way off. Like, there's just something about them never ever knowing the kids' ages. Fazool or Fryer, high tea.
Love-hate relationship with high tea. If anybody follows me on my personal account, they know, girl.
Okay, so what's your take on it?
Okay, this is my take on it. I love the ambiance and the vibe.
The aesthetic.
Because मुझे चाय बहुत पसंद है. मैं क्या करूं? मगर I'll be very honest with you. The most घटिया चाय ever.
Pani, Neela, pani hai.
Literally funny. Like you don't even know how snobby I am when I'm sitting at a high tea. Okay, my sister is obsessed with high tea. Like I think she's gone to like every high tea in like the freaking country, and then in other countries too. I enjoy it because
Yeah.
it's like a very nice experience.
Yeah.
You dress up, you sit there, you get like little things. But like I'm also like, मैं खाती पीती लड़की हूँ. Like don't be giving me this. Like you're giving me I have the funniest high tea stories. You
Tell
don't even
us.
understand. So,
Tell
like,
us one.
Okay. So we went. It's like this bougie high tea, okay? I'm sitting there. I'm like, first of all, chai comes. I'm like, picky jaw. Like, it's like, rangi nahi hai us chai ke andar. And then, so you're like, it was horrible. And then
Neela tota.
one patti, ek patti dalte in the, you know,
In the
like,
pot.
in the pot. And
Yeah.
I'm like, this is not going to suffice.
And
Okay?
it's like, I need 6 putties
I
in
swear
here.
to God, I was like, bring me more pattis, okay? And then he's like, ma'am, this is gonna be. I'm like, I don't care. Bring me the damn patti. I'm not gonna drink shitty chai, okay?
True.
So I'm like, hook it up with proper patti like yeah. So he brought the proper patti. Okay, I put like 3 in my teacup. Okay, and sometimes I feel like everyone around me, like my sister, she'll be like, yep, that's the right way to do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
and then they're also like, yes, can we have 3 as well?
And I'm like, hey, yo, pour some
Yo,
of my
for
cup.
real, okay? And then it's like they give you the chaw. उसके साथ ठंडा दूध.
Aye, hi.
कि चाय में पीऊं. How am I supposed to drink that?
Aye, hi.
Biggest eye high moment, and I look at him and like, brother, either you steam this milk,
Brother.
or you. Brother, what's that, brother? It's literally like, what's that, brother? You're not. You're giving me this like Bonnie, and then you're telling me to put this like tanda dude in this down.
He's just making your milk into 0%.
I swear to God, that's exactly what it is. It's not even skim at that point, okay? So then, like, he brings me this dude, and I'm like, listen, can you bring me steamed milk, okay?
Okay.
Because उसके ऊपर थोड़ी सी foam आ जाती है, and then you're like, okay, oh, all right. He goes back, and sometimes they're like, sorry, we don't have steam, and they give you those plastic little.
Those are the
freaking
worst. Those are the worst. यार हम बैठ के नाखून हमारे टूट रहे हैं उसको खोल के those packets.
You're opening like 7 of them, yo.
So embarrassed because
One has,
people
like-
walk by and I have a whole bowl of khali packets because they're probably like, what is wrong?
I'm telling you, okay, everything needs to be revamped here. They don't know how to make a jaw, okay? So then I'm like, okay, bring me like the prop. Then I'm sitting there. Then फिर ना मुझे चाय को दम करना पड़ता है,
Oh, I
right?
know.
Like you have to leave it in there for like a few minutes. I'm sitting there like with my food. Like I'm not having my food until I have my chai's ready.
Yep.
Okay, and then I'm sitting there like waiting, and then you get this khana, okay?
Oh, God.
And it's like I haven't eaten breakfast. I came for high tea, मैंने नाश्ता भी नहीं किया हुआ.
Oh no.
I'm sitting there. Cucumber sandwich in like a circle like this. Like they took a circle cookie cutter and made a
And it's the same size as the one cucumber slice.
How is that gonna fill anyone?
No one.
Everyone that goes there is lying, okay? It does not fill anyone, okay? And so that one day I was like, this is some BS, okay? So I said to him, like, listen, bro, that chicken sandwich I had was really good. Can you just make me a whole other sandwich?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Two pieces of bread, slap that chicken in there, and I will take that.
Yeah.
Okay, like I need more food.
Yeah.
And he's just like, ma'am, it's gonna be another like $15 for 2 pieces of bread.
For
With
double
chicken.
roti.
Literally, it was like a chicken salad with 2 pieces of brown bread. It was,
Aye,
and I'll
aye.
bet money it was Dempster's loaf too. Okay, so obviously I was starving. Okay, and my friends and my sisters like, Hina, like it's not that serious. I'm like, I'm freaking starving.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm paying so much damn money to come to this high tea.
Okay,
So then he made
can we
me a
talk about this
sandwich.
cost?
It's like over $100.
Why? For what?
For nothing.
Absolutely
for the
nothing.
ambiance and the experience.
Okay, so I'm very like, I get roped into all these pretty cafes that serve high tea, right? Because you see the TikToks and you're
That's
like,
what it is.
this is gorgeous.
That's what it
it's
is.
all pink. It's all
That's what it
beautiful.
is.
And I'm like, oh my God, adding to the list, adding to the list.
Yeah.
And then you go and you're sitting there. You can't take Uruje nowhere. We had the assumptions episode. Y'all, an assumption about Uruje is like, give me like good grungy filling food.
Yeah.
Okay, something that I can use my hands with. Okay, give me a corner, a hole in the wall, whatever. That's my jam.
But I need food.
But if I'm prim and proper, wearing a dress, crossing my legs, okay, trying to have, also, I don't even drink tea. Okay,
Girl.
So my first question when I go there is, can I swap this for coffee? And some places do that,
Yeah,
which is
yeah,
cool.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
but the coffee, it's like this instant Nescafe.
Got the black coffee.
Gun the what bank hall status. Bani coffee. Okay, but I was like, all right, fine, I'll have it. Then they give you the thanda doodh. So now I'm having extremely cold coffee, but it's not iced, so I don't like it. Because if it was iced, it's different.
That's a pet peeve of mine. The tunda.
And then I'm sitting there and I was like, I don't want these freaking sandwiches. So then what do? I end up eating a few scones and I was like, yeah, I'm done. I'm
Yeah.
done. I don't want anything here.
And like, are you kidding me? Like, okay, fine. Like the scone might be good, but like, just give us food that fills your stomach.
Yeah, I know.
Like, let us make sure that we ate our fill and it was worth the cost.
Oh my God, yeah. Because you're spending, let's say you spent $120 at high tea and you had 2 cups of coffee or chai and you had like 3 scones.
But I think people just go for the aesthetic and the vibes.
You do. You end up going for that.
And girl, I'm complaining, but you better believe I'm gonna go again.
Yeah, I know. Catch us at the next high tea.
The next IT is happening. It's happening. But
But
yeah,
I will forever complain about it because I still think it's Fazool.
I still think it's Fazool.
Yeah.
But there's moments when I think it's fire too. Just for the aesthetic, guys.
Have you ever gone to a spot that's really good?
You know what? I did go to one spot that was good, like last year in the summer, and it was not like a super high end, like it wasn't like in one of those hotels or anything.
Okay.
It was like a small cafe, and I just felt like it was good because they had lots of filling food options.
Okay.
And it was not like $7,000 either.
I like that.
And I think that was a good experience. We took our kids too.
Oh,
so it was cute. They had like kid stuff too, which I really liked.
Okay. I
Okay.
could get behind that. All right, go.
Fazool or fire? Those steel drinking cups that they have back home. You know what I'm talking about?
It's Fazool.
What?
It's Fazool for me.
Yo, they're fire. For me. Fire. Okay.
You know why?
I love them.
So I have a really strong sense of smell
Oh, and you can smell the metal.
and I can smell it. And anything in there, I don't want it.
I'll tell you why I think it's fire, because like when you put something cold in there,
I
it
know.
stays cold.
This is the thing. I know it holds the temperature. I know
Yeah.
it actually changes. So it's the same. It's a similar concept of if you have ice cream with a metal spoon. It changes the flavor
yes,
of
it
what
does.
you're drinking.
100% it does.
Which I will agree.
Yeah.
I'm giving it to you. I just, because of my nose and my sense of smell and how I can get immediately turned off by something,
Yeah.
I can't drink from it.
And for me, I'm like, if I had to drink something cold like milk, which I don't really drink, but water or
Lassi.
like lassi.
Yeah.
Even a milkshake, if you put it in one of those, you're set.
Yo,
It's a
Hina's
good
ready.
feeling.
Give
It's a
it
good
all
feeling.
all the milkshakes.
Love that stuff.
All right, I'm gonna ask you a controversial one.
Ooh.
Fazool or fire? Cricket. The sport.
You know what, guys? I'll be honest with you. Na sar na pair mujhe pata hai cricket ka. I know there's a ball, I know there's a bat, and that is as far as it goes. I don't know how you make a goal. I don't know how long the match is. I know nothing about the match. I know India, Pakistan have this huge rivalry, okay? And other than that, I know nothing. But I'm also someone that like I've grown up watching a lot of sports. My family was like really big into hockey and like basketball, this, that, whatever. So if I learn what it is,
Okay.
then I'll definitely watch it.
Okay.
Like I very recently learned about how you play football.
I can't understand football.
Like
for the life
not
of me.
soccer, but like football, as in, like
American
NFL,
football.
American football.
Yeah.
Like I learned that a few years ago that like, oh, like this is how you do this, and then I was like, oh, this is like really interesting.
Yeah.
Then I
Because of
got
all the
kinda-
lines on the like I don't understand a lot of the plays.
Then I kind of got like really into it. Basketball, of course.
Yeah, basketball.
Everyone's into basketball, but like I think I would get into it if I understood it.
Okay, so here's my thing.
Yeah.
I'm a beach bitch. Okay?
okay.
Because I think it's fire when there's a big, like, for example, rivalry match between Pakistan and India. I love going for the vibes.
Yeah.
Because everybody's there, everybody's so invested. People are crying in the stadium. The vibes are immaculate. It's untouchable. Like, even if you lose, even if your team loses, the experience is something you will remember forever.
See, like I would go for the vibes.
Yo, you gotta go for the
Because
vibes.
then if I go for the vibes, they don't understand as well.
Yeah.
And I'll get really into it.
But there are some cricket games where it's just so long.
Yeah.
And I don't know if post-COVID, this Uruje can now sit through an entire cricket game.
This Uruje would be sleeping.
Yo, I would be. I
would be in
nap time. Wake me up.
9 p.m.
At the next over, wake me up. But like sometimes when they play and they play well, you need a lot of talent for this game.
I think so too.
And I don't think I realized it until I started watching it when I was older. Because when you're younger, you kind of watch it. And when I used to go to Pakistan, like we'd play it on the streets all the time. Yeah. Right? And like everybody would get in. Like everybody from the mahalla is coming. My dad's going in there and playing. It's
Oh my God, I love that though.
Fun.
I love that your dad was going in there and
But
playing.
and I remember I'd stand back and be like, oh my God, my dad's like playing a sport. Because like I've never seen him do that. Right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like it's just too long for me. But who knows? Maybe if I watch like a cricket game now, I could sit through it.
I feel like if we were together, we would be like, go!
Yeah.
We'd be super
It would be
into
amazing. But the highs and lows, the emotional roller coaster ride that
Okay.
happens when you're watching a cricket game.
I'm not gonna lie, the recent match that happened, the way that people, there was this auntie on like, she made like a reel and she was so cheese. Like, I was like, oh my God. She was like, what type of BS game was this?
Yeah.
Why did we even come here? Like, she was going off. And I was just like, whoa, this
like,
is serious.
People went to the States and people came to Canada to watch the games. This is the thing. So I feel like they
so
really
angry.
felt upset by the team because you're so invested.
Yeah.
And I think this is with every sport.
Yeah,
Once
yeah,
you
yeah,
have
yeah.
a team and you are so invested in them, it's like you feel like you know those players.
And you're like, why are you doing such stupid things?
Yeah, because you're like, any other day, you'd never do that. Today, when it's the biggest match on the planet, you're gonna pull this. You just get so invested in this. So that's the thing. I think I'm a middle.
I'm a middle. Okay, well, hopefully we'll change things.
Also, we need to go to one. Somebody
really
let us to a
should.
cricket game. We asked you guys a question.
We asked a question.
We got a lot of traction on this question.
So much. Oh my God.
But I think this is a very important conversation we need to be having because a lot of our followers are now in this boat where you are either in a relationship looking to get married or engaged or Nagai's happening, Ruksati's coming up, or you did just get married. So you're kind of in that new marriage life, you know, the first 3 months of being married. And we felt like this was just something so important we had to ask you all. So, Hina, what was our question of the day?
The question that we asked was, what are some important things to discuss before you get married? So I think we meant it as like, let's say like if someone is dating someone and you know that that's your person, you're going to get married to them. What are some things that you would be like, okay, this is a very essential question that I need to ask you? Or if you are engaged or if there's like a rishta going on, this can also like roll into that as well.
Yep.
And the responses, woo,
There was a lot.
There was
There's
a lot.
of good stuff you guys said, actually.
A lot of good stuff.
I have to say, I was reading some of them and I was like, wow, this is really good advice because I feel like nobody really equips you to ask the right questions.
Yeah.
Because you may not know yourself. And when you're so young and you're looking for a life partner, you don't know what you want to ask. You might end up asking generic questions.
Very surface level questions.
Yeah. So I feel like maybe you and I can do a deeper dive in this episode.
I think that would be really great because I think if I put my mindset back to when I was younger and if I was going through that process, it would never be questions that were super deep. Sometimes there's certain questions where you're like, ooh, like, should I ask that? Because that might be a sensitive question.
Right.
But when I say ask the damn sensitive questions, those are probably the questions that you need to be asking.
Facts.
Let's be real. I think that's why I really like this topic because I feel like it's going to be very informative.
Yep.
Okay. So I think one of the biggest ones that was something that like almost everyone brought up, okay, was finances. Okay. Finances, including like any debts that you have, career, like all this type of stuff. Like, are we splitting things, all that? So what do you think about it?
So here's the thing. I think, again, this is going to be my hot take, okay?
Yeah, for sure.
If you meet the person that you actually, okay, let's say you are in the position where you know that this person I'm actually marrying. This is not a random first date. Because you're not going to ask these questions to like a random lady, okay? Yeah. But you're seriously at the point where you're like, our parents are deciding the nikah date. You know what I mean? You need to talk about finances.
100%.
It needs to be an open, clear conversation. There needs to be transparency in that conversation because it is such a problem in couples if you don't have that open conversation.
Yeah.
And I think there are different ways to go about it too. This is why we were talking about financial literacy is so important, and girls should have like classes
100%
on how to handle finances.
Oh my God, it's so important.
I don't know why it is, but for some reason, girls just aren't as equipped sometimes to understand how financial literacy works. Okay. Yeah. And I feel like you need to openly ask questions like, how much do you earn? Okay. How much of that goes into your savings?
Yeah.
What if you have debt, how much are you paying off monthly?
Yeah.
Okay. I have debt. How does it work on my end?
Yeah.
Okay. What do your general monthly expenses look like? Take into consideration how much you eat out, how much gas you have,
or like
to have for your car.
Help your parents financially.
Yes.
Or anyone else.
Yeah. Do you have people that are now your dependents?
Yeah.
They depend on you for these finances. These conversations are so important because you don't want to get married and find this out later.
Exactly. And also I would add to that and say, assets. Like, what are your assets? Like, do you have investments? Am I going to have to put my name on which things am I going to get involved to? What's your credit like?
Yeah.
Do you have a shitty credit score? You know, all these things are so important.
Yep.
But people don't talk about it.
Also, like, I had no idea what the hell a credit score was for the longest time either. This is the thing. I think it's a lot of it is like, we don't even know. So how am I supposed to ask? Right?
Exactly.
But for example, I think another thing, really important thing is like, if he has a home, is he going to add your name on the home?
Yeah.
This is so important because sometimes men actually do have a home before they get married.
Yeah, exactly.
And like, you kind of want to gauge, are we going to actually have an equal partnership right now? Or does he want sole ownership of everything?
Yeah.
Right? If we get a car, are we going to finance or lease it?
Yeah, exactly.
This is such a simple question.
Yeah.
And in the beginning, some people will be like, what does that even mean? What's the difference between financing a car or leasing a car?
Exactly.
You don't know. Do your research and ask these questions.
I think that's so important, the financial literacy thing. And like, I can honestly say that growing up, I don't think I really knew much about it. Like, someone would say mortgage and I'd be like, what's that? But I think because I ended up working at a bank or at like a couple of banks, it was something that like I learned a lot about it. And once you learn about it, you're like, okay, this is not rocket science. It's actually pretty simple and straightforward, but you have to know, not only just because you're getting into a relationship with someone, but like, let's say you're not in a relationship, you have to know for your own self.
Yeah.
Like what are the benefits for me? What can I put my money into? What can I invest in? You know, why is it so important to have a good credit score? All these things are so essential to just living life. I think a lot of girls will just kind of be like, okay, well, the guy will take care of it because he's already holding it down. So he'll take care of it because he's the breadwinner. But I think if you do that, then there's going to be moments in your life where you're like, I don't know anything about anything. So if there's ever a situation where, I mean, let's say maybe something doesn't work out, or maybe he's gone on a work trip and you can't contact him and you need to get something done, then you are not in the know or in the loop. And also to your point about like, is my name going to be on that property? Right? Or like, am I going to be like on the insurance for the car? All these things, like you do want to like gauge it because you want to know what you, and I would also say like, ask the questions. If someone's like, oh yeah, I'm just going to do this and like add your name onto it, just be like, well, what is this?
Yeah.
What are you adding my name onto? And like, how is this going to impact me? Because you don't know what the future holds, right? So like, let's say something doesn't work out for you guys, which I mean, ideally that's not the best case scenario, but if it doesn't, then at least you know, oh, my name is on this and this thing. So now I need to be mentally prepared that like, this is what I have to do with A, B, and C thing.
Yeah.
Right.
I also say when you have a true partnership, men will also seek women's advice when it comes to money.
I think so too.
Right?
Yeah.
Because we can be really good with it.
Yeah.
I feel like my whole life, I always saw my mom doing a lot of the savings.
Right.
Because my mom would always just be like, no, we're not going to spend here. This is my budget. This is the kind of grocery I can get. If it's on sale, we'll pick it up. Like,
yeah.
And Yes, I know. I understand. Maybe it's just a dollar here or there, but that dollar here or there adds up.
It does.
Right.
It does.
And because she is able to make such smart decisions, then when you're when you're growing together as a couple, you realize we can actually achieve more than what we thought.
Yeah.
We can actually get the house that we wanted. This can actually be a
Yeah.
forever home because my wife did the saving on the side. I did savings on the side. Now we can pool it together and move forward.
Yeah. And I think that that's like so important because like there has to be clear expectations set when you enter a relationship or a marriage. Like you need to know where you both stand.
Right.
Like, let's say, for example, he's the type of guy that's like, no, I want you to stay home and like I'll provide, right? He's the provider. Even in that situation, like you should still be somewhat in the know. It's also like, well, if that is your expectation of me, then how are you going to make me feel financially secure? Like, am I going to have to ask you for money? Or are you going to say, hey, you know what? Like, I'm going to give you this much for the month, or like, this is a credit card. You can do what you need to do. But then even if it's like someone gives you a credit card, you're still like, well, how do you want me to spend on this? Do I just go wild?
Yeah.
Or like, are you going to be like, no, like this is our budget for whatever, right? I think another really big thing that sometimes comes up is like, when you're younger and you get married, you freshly come out of school and a lot of people have student loans.
Yeah.
And then it's like, do I disclose this information to my partner?
Yeah.
And if I do, is it his burden to pay it or is it still on me to pay it? You know what I mean? Because like, let's say you do disclose it and then he says he doesn't want you to work. So then you're like, well, I have this huge loan and like, who's going to pay it off?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So I think like those are things that need to be very open and transparent. They need to be at least discussed so you don't have future issues that kind of come up from like things like that.
And sometimes talking and thinking out loud, you can come up with a solution together.
Yeah, I think
But
so
if
too.
I'm just going to hold it in and not disclose that I have these student loans, how am I going to expect that we are able to even get over this?
Yeah.
Right?
exactly.
Because it is almost like a hump, right? How are you?
Yeah.
It's like with anything that comes your way when you are in a relationship. It's good. Things are going to be thrown your way left, right, and center. How are you as a couple it could be like in any relationship, how are you planning to make sure that you can get over this right now?
Yeah.
And what's your reason? Like, what's your solution?
Yeah.
A lot of people also messaged us saying, a great tip was to have like an Excel spreadsheet,
I think that's a really good
right?
idea.
Have a spreadsheet with like monthly expenses, a budget based on the expenses,
Yeah.
and maybe see where you can cut things off. Like, do you really need, for example, a Spotify account?
Yeah.
Right? Could you just listen to the ads and just have the free account?
Yeah.
That could save you like $15 a
And I
month.
would say listen to the ads and get that account. Listen to OK.
And make sure you give us those 5-star ratings. Shameless plug.
For real.
Right? So there's so many little things that you can figure out and manage if
Yeah.
everything is written down in front of you and you understand and you feel comfortable asking all of these questions.
Yeah.
I think the tricky part is, what if you don't feel comfortable bringing up
That
anything?
is the tricky question because like
Yeah.
how many of our parents, honestly, I know my parents are 100% like this. That's like, you don't talk about like money so open. You don't ask someone like how much money do you make? Like it's just like almost like disrespectful.
Yeah.
Like that's what I've been taught. Like we don't really talk about money that way.
Yep.
Like I would never in a million years be like, so how much money do you make? Because
Yeah.
for me, it's like, I think my parents always taught us like be independent, like make your own money. You
Yeah.
don't need to be like asking somebody.
Yeah.
So it's like a very different dynamic. And then, but I understand why it's important to ask.
Yeah.
I just maybe think that there's probably a way to ask. And when you're comfortable enough with someone to be like, hey, like, what are we looking at? This is what I'm coming in with. This is what you're coming in with. How do we plan for our life in a way that's going to make us both be like on the same, like on the same page? You know what I mean?
Okay, Hina, you know what's really scary though?
What?
What if you disclose to like, let's say you're in a relationship with someone,
Yeah.
okay? And then he's like, oh, I earn X amount of money.
Yeah.
Like, this is my annual income. And you're like, oh, cool. This is my annual
Yeah.
income. And then you're like, okay, you have a budget going. You're very open.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you're also very vulnerable.
Yeah.
Because you are now disclosing some
Yeah.
personal information to
It's a
somebody.
sensitive topic.
Right. And you're like, not even my mom knows this. Not even my mom knows how much money I spend on
My
food.
mom would not know.
You know?
Yeah.
And then it doesn't work out.
I think that's the scary part. But I feel like any relationship is a risk in that sense.
That's
right?
true. Yeah.
Like at some point you have to let yourself be vulnerable enough because you want to pursue the relationship, because there's going to be a certain level of vulnerability in any relationship.
True.
But like if it doesn't work out, it sucks because you're just like, oh, like I'm sure that that person knows a lot of things about me that maybe things that I don't want other people to know.
Yeah.
But you're kind of just like, well, I also know things about that person.
Yeah, it's
you know
true.
what I mean? So you're kind of like, it's tit for tat at that point.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
But I don't know, like it's really scary because you can never predict the future, but any relationship, even friendships, like if you really think about it, they can be like that too.
Yeah.
Even sometimes sibling relationships,
Yeah.
like they know a lot about you too.
Yeah.
I think like in general though, it's important to be really transparent with things like that when you know that that is your person.
You know what else is very important when it comes to finances? Let's say you have a home together.
Yeah.
Who is dividing up all the costs of the home?
Yeah.
Like who is going to be paying the mortgage and who is going to be paying the bills and the grocery and the electricity bill and all of these things? There are so many. How do you split that in a home?
How do you split that? That's a really big one because that's such a huge asset of yours.
Yeah.
Especially in today's day. Oh my God. Like it's like
It's all you have.
it's all you got, you know? And it's like such a big thing. And it's like a huge, I mean, it's hard for one person to hold it down as well because I feel like it's just a lot.
It's a lot.
But I think if the one person is saying like, okay, well, let's say you're married, you have kids now and you're at home and that person is holding it down, like you're also doing your part to hold it down as well. It might not be the financial aspect, but like you're doing a lot when it comes to the children too,
Exactly.
right? You're fulfilling in that way too. And I would also say like, that's a big one. But another big one I would say is like, how are you utilizing money for like personal time, like vacations, you know, like things for your children, and like how are you dividing those things up? Because I think when it's just you and, you know, your husband, right, that's one dynamic.
Yep.
When the kids come into the mix, that dynamic is like insanity times however.
There's no money left for the parents.
There ain't no money left. Everybody
Kids are taking it all.
broke gang. Okay. Like it's just like there's just so much stuff happening because you're like, I want to put them in good schools. They need to be in extracurriculars.
Yeah.
I need to be able to buy them like clothes because they literally grow out of clothes.
Kaunte
every
lage
2
hue hain.
days.
Kaunte lage hue hain.
Literally, okay. And then it's like the shoes, the hats, the sunscreen.
Oh my
okay. And it's like
gosh.
natural baby products. And so you're
The diapers.
the damn diapers and wipes. My God. Okay. Like
The
it's just
mattress sheets. There's so many
strollers,
costs.
this,
Oh my
that,
gosh.
whatever. Like, and there's so many little things that come and add up. And I think sometimes what happens is that if you don't have those discussions and you kind of get into a situation where like your life changes, you have a major life change. Let's say now your in-law is like, you know, one person is not here anymore and you have one in-law and they're like, oh, we're moving in with you. Changes the dynamic completely.
Yep.
Okay. Because now you're going to potentially support this one in-law.
Yep.
Right. So I feel like it's also about how does that person deal with money matters? Like, do they get stressed out
Yeah.
to the point where like it makes them angry if they're having a situation where like money is tight, or like are they still like, we got this, we can sort it out, this is our savings, blah 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 blah. So I think it just kind of leads into a lot of things, but finances is such a big thing.
It's
girl.
such a big thing.
Like I feel like finances can make or break. I'm not gonna lie to you.
100%. And how I think there's a stat that says that like an X percentage of separation within couples is due to finances.
I think so too.
Because at one point you're just like, we cannot be together because this life does not work.
Exactly.
The money doesn't add up.
Exactly.
Right? So I understand that too. I think it's so tough because there are also situations where, let's say you sort everything out before you get married. All right. You know, this person makes this person makes this, I bring in this, he brings in this, and we're going to pool together and split the bills this way. And you've got it covered, right?
Yeah.
And you feel like, all right, I feel afloat and now we can get married and we can start this life together. And then one of you loses your job. Ooh. And now how are you going to manage on one income? And let's say the person that had the higher income is the one who loses his job. And you're sitting there being like, I have no idea what to do. And I think this is why money is such an important conversation to have pre-marriage.
I think so too.
Because come post-marriage, if somebody does lose their job, if somebody gets injured at their workplace, if you all of a sudden need to go on EI, if you get pregnant, you can't work anymore, whatever the situation may be, at least the transparency is there so you can be like, hey, listen, it's okay. We talked about this.
Yeah.
We can change some things around and still make it work.
Yeah, exactly. I
But
think
if
it's
you
very
didn't
stressful.
even have the conversation before you got married, how are you expecting to make it work?
100%. I also think like it's scary because what if you get into a relationship and you feel like both people were very transparent, but when you get into the relationship, you find out later that like, oh, this person has like X amount of debt. And like, let's say they are the primary like breadwinner, then you're kind of like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Like, what do? I didn't even know this.
Yeah.
And you're screwed because you're sitting there like, why would you not tell me? And maybe they just didn't tell you because they were like embarrassed.
Which,
You know what I mean?
again, because this is a very vulnerable conversation to have with a
Yes.
partner, the embarrassment, I understand.
I understand that as well.
But maybe when you are having that conversation with them, just say, listen, we need to be transparent.
Yeah, we need to be transparent. But if you are in a situation like that, right? As much as it's embarrassing for that person, you feel betrayed.
Of course.
You feel like someone lied to you and they didn't tell you the truth. And so then it kind of breaks your trust and you're like, okay, well, moving forward, how do I know that you're going to be transparent
Yep.
with me? Right.
Yep.
But then it's like, that has added on this like immense level of stress now because you thought things were golden goose. Okay. And now all of a sudden it's like, I guess they're not.
Yeah.
Here we are with like 40K debt now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like, it's a very touchy topic.
It is.
So
And then
touchy.
The thing is, when you're not even though you're embarrassed,
Yeah.
but you're not disclosing it to the person you want to spend the rest of your life with, the problem that you are going to face is your partner now is going to feel so much stress. Aside from the betrayal,
Yeah.
they're going to be so stressed because they're going to be like, now we need to work on doing all of that and getting rid of that debt before we even take on anything else, like buying a new car, like having kids, like adding more debt, because buying a car is debt. Having kids, it's expensive.
Yeah.
Right. But you can't do any of that because you're like, great, now we got to backtrack,
Yeah.
erase this debt first.
Yeah.
Or at least minimize it so it's manageable.
Yeah.
And then try and think about doing what other goals we had as a couple.
Exactly.
And that's frustrating too, because then you feel like you're taking 3 steps back.
Exactly. And then you're kind of like, well, it was hard enough, right?
Yeah.
Marriage is hard enough as is. Okay. You add the finances onto it. That's like another hard. Then you add the fact that like somebody didn't tell you and disclose. That is an additional level of hard. So now you've already had to pass through like these 3 hurdles, starting you off on probably the worst foot ever. I think it just creates a lot of cracks in your foundation, and the foundation is what should be really strong.
It's key.
It's so key.
And I think so we're going to dive into another topic.
Yeah,
This is
yeah,
going to
yeah,
like,
yeah.
whatever. So what do you do if you are having financial issues and you need to move in with in-laws now?
I think that's like the second level of hard.
That's so hard.
You unlock level 2 of Super Mario, and it's like it's second level of hard. Super Mario moves in with his in-laws.
like the
I can't.
villain in that level.
I just think this is my hot take, guys. This is my hot take. I think it's very hard to do that, especially if you've never lived with in-laws and you've had that time to live by yourself.
Yes.
Then moving in with in-laws, I just, it's hard.
Can I just
It's
say
so
though,
hard.
I don't even think it's in-laws. Even if you had to move back in with your parents,
1,000,000%.
let's say it's not
1
the guy's
million %.
parents. Let's say his parents are not around, or for
1 million
example,
%.
like they live too far away and you guys work in Toronto and they live
Yeah.
somewhere else, but you move in with your own parents.
It's so
even that
hard.
is hard, because when you get married and you move out, you are now considered officially an adult.
Yes.
In the Desi culture, you are
Yeah.
officially, quote unquote, an adult.
Yeah.
And you found a life partner and you are going to
Yeah.
make this new life together.
Yeah.
But then you all of a sudden have to move back in with your parents or his parents. That is like, now you are going back into your childhood home.
Yes. 100%.
But what you don't realize is your parents nor his parents change. And
Yeah.
they don't see you as an adult.
Nope. Not at all.
So they're going to treat you as the same little kid that you
Yes.
were when you lived under their roof.
Yeah.
That is so hard.
It's so hard because, like, okay, let's say you lived alone with your hubby, okay? You have now gained this new level of independence. You're independent, you're mature, you're doing all these things on your own. You have a certain way of doing things. You have a tariqa, okay? Like I when I wake up in the morning, I like go make my breakfast like this, and then I wash the dishes, and then I'll do this. You have a routine set for yourself, okay? When you move back in with like an in-law or a parent, they're like, this is our way of doing it, right?
Yep.
Our dishes go here, and like we do like laundry after 6 p.m. And you're public, I do it whenever the hell I need to do it. Okay. But now you're at a point where you're like, I can't be mean and be like, I refuse to listen to you. I have to also kind of go with the flow with them too. But you don't get the space to be who you are authentically.
Exactly.
Like you always have to be a little bit less than what you would normally be.
Because when you do get married and move out and have that freedom and space and schedule and routine
Yeah.
or whatever it is you discovered with your partner, you feel like you can actually be yourself in the comfort of your own skin. That's when I feel like a person can truly identify with who they are
100%.
because they are just being how they want to be with whoever they love. Okay, but when you have to move in with any set of parents, they're just gonna look at you as like this little kid, and now they're like, what do you mean you don't want a paratha for nashta? And you're like, I haven't had a paratha for nashta in a year.
Or what about this part? When this stuff happens, like when you're living alone, right? You can wake up in the morning, your husband come and like give you a kiss on the cheek and be like, hey, good morning, babe. When you're living with your in-laws, it's like, sup. It's like from a distance,
you
hello there.
You gotta do the chin
How
nod.
you doing?
Yeah.
It's like, all right, I guess I'll maybe when people are gone upstairs, I'll hold your hand. Like it's like one of those.
And then you're like, okay, that's right. Somebody's gonna walk in,
and like literally you're watching TV and you're a little too close, and you hear someone coming down the stairs. You're like, move the hell away from me! Don't touch me! It's one of those. It's so uncomfortable.
It's so uncomfortable, and then you're kind of like, I don't know. There's like certain, like you said, there are certain levels of intimacy that you obviously can't have in the home of any parent. Okay, which can also affect the relationship. Like,
oh my god, so
I'm
much.
I'm not trying to be like, I'm not sexualizing it in any way, but I'm saying there are certain levels of intimacy that you have in your own space. For example, like let's say you're washing the dishes and your husband comes from behind you and holds you. It's a level of intimacy that's cute and you feel warm and safe and in your own space, right? But imagine
it ain't happening. I'm having heart palpitations. Like, Uruje, you can't do these things.
Imagine I'm standing there, good old Uruje is like washing the button as usual because that's what I do. Okay, my husband comes down and he wants to like wrap his arm around me, but you know, parents are sitting at the table. Are you kidding me? I'd be like, don't even breathe the same air. Don't come near me. Don't share my coffee cup. Ew, cooties.
It's so weird. And you want to know the worst part? It's like, you know when you get into a fight, right? Khul ke fight bhi nahi kar sakte. Like you're just like, oh my god, you're really making me upset. And inside you're like, I am so freaking angry right now. Like, how dare you do that? And inside you're like, I can't believe you did this to me. Inside you're just like, I am about to go like, ape shit.
Get in the car so I can yell at you right now because you're making me so upset.
Because you know, in front of our parents as girls, right? As girls, if you ever get upset at like your significant other, your parents will always cut you up.
Yeah.
Up the guy. Like the guy could have like done the worst shit.
Yo, meri itni bestie hoti hai yaar. I don't even know why. I always the problem.
It's because you're their daughter. It's easier to like daunt you, okay?
Yeah, for real.
It's so hard though because you're sitting there like, I'm about to unleash and I am holding it in. Like it is being held in, okay? But when this Pandora's box opens up, but sometimes you need to let it out.
And what do you mean sometimes, girl? All the time.
And then like, let's say you're like, okay, I have planned out. I'm gonna go upstairs to my room. I'm gonna yell at him real quick. Okay? And then you go upstairs to your room and you're yelling at each other. And then you come downstairs and your mom's sitting there like, मुझे आवाजें सुनाई दी थी ऊपर से. क्या हुआ? मुझे जरा बताओ, like what happened? Why are you fighting with him? What's going on? Like, is there any baat karte?
Guys,
and you're just sitting there like,
but also the last person you want to tell is any parent.
Yo, for real.
You think I'm gonna sit there and be like, oh mom, let's warm up a cup of chai and let me tell you the details of my relationship.
Like, she's signing divorce papers.
The way that they're going reading those sadke namaz, like they're like, hi, Allah kuch na ho jaye. Like, please, kuch nafil mein padti hu extra because they're freaking out.
So crazy. Like, they definitely overthink it. But like, but they're also from a generation where like they probably were not like, I hate when you do that. Like, why would you do that to me? I don't understand.
Yeah.
They were probably like, kya karu main?
Bas yehi zindagi hai.
I swear. And we're just more outspoken.
Yeah.
If we say it, like, you really hurt my feelings. I didn't like that.
Yeah, exactly.
And they're just like, you guys are so emotional. So har baat pe itne sensitive log, like
har baat kyun? And then, you know what else they'll say? They'll be like, why do you have to communicate everything?
Yeah.
Why do you have to communicate? Just take it in. Like, man up and don't. Why do you have har baat jaake kyun kehni hoti hai?
Yeah.
And I'm like, bro, we're trying to have open communication here.
Itna bhi open nahi hona chahiye.
I'm trying to like take all of these therapy terms and put it in practice. And my mom's out here be like, you have to tell him everything.
It's so funny. Their take is so funny.
Their take is so funny.
Like, I get their take too because they've just been raised in a very different way. It's like a very respectful way.
I get that,
but I don't mind it. But I think at some points it's like listen, if he's doing that or if she's doing that, then sometimes you gotta say what you gotta say.
And I also feel like that generation held in a lot.
Yeah, they
and
did.
they tolerated a lot.
I mean, I give them mad credit. Mad
credit, yeah.
Like I will never be able to be at that level because I can't.
I can't. You know what else is crazy when you move in with parents? I'm gonna say parents, not in-laws, because honestly, it could be literally both sets.
100% could be both sets.
So let's say you move in with any set of parents. When they interfere in a conversation, in an argument, in any sort of like opinion, that adds up.
It really does.
Chalo ek dafa ho gaya, do dafa ho gaya. But when it's every time, you have to hear those interfering comments. That's when I feel like all the little things add up and you feel like you cannot live with this individual anymore because there's too much interference and I can't nurture this relationship that I'm trying to have with this person for the rest of my life.
Yeah. You know what I think sometimes happens? Like there's certain parents that are the parents that would be like, okay, if I got into a fight with someone, right? They'd be like, Hina, like, I understand that you're upset. And like, but like, think of it from the other person's perspective. Right. I feel like that's my parent. I'm not trying to bring them up. They actually would take the other person's side. Believe me. Okay. Then there's certain parents that like, if, for example, I'm putting myself in this example, I get into an argument with someone. Okay. They would be like, yeah, you should have said this. And you should have said this back to him too. And the parents that egg you on, those are the parents that you're like, these parents need to calm down a little bit.
Yep.
Because I feel like as much as they want to support you, which they should support you in the right times, it's not always the right way to support.
Yes.
Because at that point, if the other person sees that, oh, her mom is always egging her on to like continue the argument with me, then that person's going to get turned away from the in-laws.
Yeah.
And this goes both ways. And it's also going to create a lot bigger problems in that relationship.
100%.
So I feel like in any aspect, just tell your parents nothing. Unless it's in a point where you're like, I need a good set of advice, and you know that your parent will give you good advice without judging that person, which I don't know if that's possible.
I don't think so too, because I feel like there's just too much biased opinion in that situation. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think so too.
But I feel like the parents that really egg you on in the wrong way, the major problem that ends up happening is, let's say I am in an argument, okay? And in the back of my mind, my mom or my dad is being like, no, but you should have said this, you should have done that, you should have done that. Not even just mom or dad. What if it's a sibling? It could be anyone, right? They keep saying it, keep saying it, to the point where all of a sudden I'm going to feel like my thoughts are not my own.
Yes.
Because somebody else is in my head or in my ear being like, but you didn't touch on this detail. Yeah. You didn't notice this, but you forgot to say this. And then the argument that may have been a simple argument, as in you didn't wash the dishes last night, gets exploded into something that it shouldn't have turned into. And this is where the toxicity in relationships really plays a hand. And when you are living with parents that are interfering in all of your conversations and all of your arguments and all of your fights, you're going to feel like you don't even know that these thoughts are yours anymore because somebody else is.
You're highly influenced. And it happens the same thing with friends too. You know, sometimes you're like, I need to vent. And so you tell your friends and your friends are like, oh my God, I can't believe he did that. Yeah. Make sure you go back and talk to him. Why would he do that? And then you're saying like, yeah, I am gonna go back. Yeah. I'm gonna go home and I'm gonna be so mad at him. Yeah. It's like when you have those dreams and you're like, I had a dream. You did this to me. I woke up and now I'm so mad at you and I hate you. You know, it's like that. And you really do need that like independence to have your own thought process. Yeah. Because I think when you're in your own home and you have an argument, if it's just you and him, you're like, I ain't got nobody else. I gotta go back and apologize. Yeah, exactly. So then you're like, okay, you know what? I'm gonna have to like take my ego down a notch and be like, let me have a discussion. And you'll figure it out. But when other people get in on it, then it just like it makes the problem so much worse. So that's why I always feel like some people have to live in the joint family system. And I know that a lot of people have messaged us and said it's very difficult. Like kudos to you guys for holding it down. But then the ones that like, ideally, I still say like it's always better to just see if you can have your own space. I agree. Or like, let's say you are living in the same place. Like maybe you can make it a situation where like you have your own quarters. Yeah. And like they have their own quarters. And like there's been like very clear communication that like this is the boundary. We're not crossing the boundary. This is just how things are gonna go and flow. You know, it's very hard
because then it could be really successful. And then you have this village of support that you have when you have kids and when they have kids, and then all of a sudden the family's coming together and it's this big fun family event, which is great. But as long as it comes with not stepping on other people's feelings.
And that's really hard because I think one of the biggest things that we're going to face this as well is like the age gap and the generational gap, right? Because they're from a very different generation with a lot of different like thought processes and how they do things. And we are from a different generation. And I think that's why there's always that clash.
For real.
That's going to be there forever.
It
There's
is.
always going to be things like this
avoid
happening.
that.
Like, if I really think about it, right? Even when like one day we become in-laws, right? I'm sure there's going to be things that our like children's spouses are going to say that they're going to be like, why did she say this, or why did she do that, or why did she do that?
Yeah.
But I think it's like on us to be like, okay, like we know certain things now. How do we rectify them? How do we establish clear communication? How do we let go of our egos and just be like, I did mess up. I did mess up. I can own my shit and apologize. I think that's the biggest thing.
I also think another big piece to this entire conversation is time.
Yeah.
If you are living with your in-laws and let's say you end up having to stay at home while your husband goes to work and you are now, it's you and your mother-in-law and father-in-law. Let's just say, I'm just throwing a scenario out there. You need to give it time for you to adjust to this new environment.
Yeah.
And for them to adjust to having you home.
Yeah.
You know, because they're also not used to having a daughter-in-law.
Yeah,
Let's say if you're the first one, they're not used to having that person in their home.
Yeah.
And like, you know what's funny? I feel like now I'm gonna like play devil's advocate, but like maybe they feel like they can't argue because you're around now.
That's true.
You know
Because
what
I
I mean?
feel like, hey, listen, our gen is like very mutor jawab too.
Ah.
Like I genuinely feel like I think I'm at a point right now in my life where I'm like, if somebody says something to me that's completely out of line, I think I would like think about it and then I'd be like, no, I need to talk about this.
Yeah.
Because like I can't let it stew.
Yeah.
But I think the generation after us,
Yeah.
good luck, y'all. Good luck to us.
Good luck to us. Good luck to us. We'll be sitting there being like, oh, crap.
Yeah,
How do we
really, really
even-"
tricky.
Is the wife allowed to hang out with a group of friends? And in that group of friends, some of them are guys.
Oh, that is a good one.
That's a good conversation to have.
establish like what are friendships? Like what is what is okay, what is not okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think for something like that, it makes sense if, for example, let's say I have a group of like 8 friends.
Yeah.
Out of those 8 friends, 2 or 3 of them are guys. Okay.
Yeah.
I think if I am to, this is me, Uruje, right now as a person. If I am to go out and hang out with these friends, I would bring hubby along with me.
100%,
Right.
yeah.
So then it's kind of like he can also be friends with the male friends in the group, and then I can still hang out with everyone.
Okay. But let's say hubby goes out with you the first time.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, Uruje, I'm here to make friends. And he sees those guys and he's like, I'm getting a weird vibe from 2 of them. Honestly, like I just don't like the way that they're looking at you. You're too hot to handle. You're too hot. I saw him checking you out, Uruje. And you're like, no, it's not like that. Like I've known him for like 7 years. We're just friends. We're just friends.
Yeah.
Like I'm pretty sure he likes one of my other friends.
Yeah.
What do you do in that situation?
That's tough. I think I would have to slowly distance myself.
I think I would do the same thing.
And I would have to set some boundaries, clear boundaries. And, you know, I feel like I know a lot of friends who have left certain groups of friends because of what their spouse has said. And you know that group, they'll always look back and be like, well, yeah, it's because she's married now.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, she's in a relationship
they
now.
do that.
So she's not going to hang out with us anymore.
They do
which is
that.
fine. I think I would just accept that might be a comment that I'll have to hear. But I think in the early stages of your marriage, when you are trying to create that foundation that you were talking about without the cracks, you need to build a trust with your partner, and you have to let them know that, hey, cool, you know what? I respect what you're saying, and I am going to distance myself from this, because I think that's what I would do.
I think I would do the same thing, but then I would also have the expectation that, like, listen, if you have friends that are girls and I don't feel comfortable, then you better be doing the same thing.
Facts. It's got to be mutual.
It has to be mutual.
You know, and it can't seem like the person is overpowering and being like really strict about it.
Yeah, like they're very controlling.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you're not allowed to have any friends that are guys, because I think every guy is like into you, which is probably not the case.
Yeah.
But they're just jealous. Like they're very jealous type.
Yeah.
I think that goes into like the next thing about like figuring out people's personalities and how they are.
Yeah.
And that is so tricky, because like if you're in a dish thought process, okay, you might not have the same, and I'm not saying one is better than the other,
right?
But I'm saying in comparison to someone dating, I would say like one of the things that I would consider to be like, maybe this is like positive about the dating aspect is that you take your time to really get to know that person.
Yeah.
Let's just say.
Yeah.
Maybe in a rishta process, the taking time to get to know someone might not be as long and drawn out, depending on the family and what their expectations are,
Yep.
right? So like my thought usually, like, it's a little bit of a fear of mine that like you can't really gauge someone's personality after like 4 or 5 meetings.
100% you're right.
Yeah.
I have to say, I feel like people who have also dated and have had love marriages will say this too, that you actually don't know anybody until you live with them.
Until you move in with them. That is very true.
Until you live with them,
That is so
that's
true.
when you see their asli rang.
Yeah, because you're like, so you're telling me that you do not flush the toilet after. You're serious right now? Like all these little things?
Like little things like, oh, you're telling me you need 45 minutes in the bathroom?
Oh my God, your shower's 2 hours long?
Bro, who's
I
paying for this water bill?
cannot. For real. No, I 100% agree with you on that.
And I feel like when you're dating, it's like, oh, la-di-da, let's go out on a
La-di
date.
freaking
Let's
da-di.
watch a movie for 2 hours.
Yeah.
Let's have some dinner, and then you go home.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
then everybody's like in their own space, in their own bed. What do you mean you don't make your bed in the morning? But what if somebody else is like, what do you mean you
Yeah.
make your bed in the morning?
Yeah.
Like, why can't we
Yeah.
just leave the sheets as
Why
is?
can't we just be chill?
Right?
Right?
And you're just like, no, but I want to be chill but clean.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
you're like, you know,
exactly.
there's so many little things that you only figure out about a person once you move in with them.
That's very true.
So I feel like both ways, whether it's rishta or love or dating or whatever, you really can't understand somebody's personality until you move in with them.
I agree with that. But I also think that like when it comes to an arranged marriage, it's like sometimes the timeline is very short, right? So it's like your parents are like, oh, okay, yeah, you like the Rishta, you've talked to him a few times. All right, that's great. You're getting married this summer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that happens. Like
Yep.
I know people that's happened to. And I think it has there is this chance that person could be putting on this like amazing face. Let's say they're from a very nice family.
Yeah.
But they themselves have these like other underlying issues where they're very jealous or they're very controlling. And you don't see it in those initial 4 or 5 things. Or like they have anger issues. Like that was one that a lot of people talked about
Yeah.
as well, where it's like, how do they deal with anger? And then you kind of get into this thing where like you move in with them.
Yep.
And then you notice all these things. And again, it doesn't necessarily have to just be the rishta process. Even in like, let's say like a love marriage, right? You move in with them and you see their true colors because now they're getting comfortable with you.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh my God, I cannot handle you.
Yeah.
Like you get angry over the dumbest things.
Exactly.
And like, I am not that type of person. I don't want to have a confrontation over every small thing. And then you're kind of like, do I talk to this person? Like, if I say this, he's going to get angry at me.
Exactly.
So you hold, like, you just kind of, like, you seclude yourself. You become a different person because of that. And then you're like, I can't really say this because he's going to get mad at me and I don't want to fight. You know what I mean? Like, are you a fight or a flight?
Yeah, that's a big
big
one
one.
too.
Yeah.
And I also feel like nobody wants to be the punching bag in a relationship.
Yes,
So if
100%.
you have a partner that you realize afterwards has a lot of anger issues, like that's a good question to address beforehand.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
you don't want to be sitting there and having these thoughts in your mind where you're like, I can't talk to him about this because I just want to avoid a fight tonight.
Yeah.
What kind of a life is that?
What kind of, because there's going to be problems, y'all.
If you're gonna fight over what to watch on Netflix and he's gonna show
Yeah.
an anger issue or what to order through Uber Eats and all of a sudden
Or
he's getting
like
angry.
if somebody, like, let's say you're working with a coworker that's a male.
Yeah.
And it's like you have no control over that.
Yeah.
And you know it's a very platonic relationship,
Yeah.
right? But like he is super jealous, then you're in such a bad spot because like he is 100% going to make you feel so disrespected.
Yep.
And he's going to he's going to gaslight this out of you. And I think those are the things that sometimes like we go into it thinking like we're really naive. And
Yeah.
and I don't even want to say this as like the guy doing it. The girl could also be this way.
Yeah.
It could be it's a two-way street. Okay. There's a lot of jealous girls out there too. So like the girl could be doing the same thing. And then you're kind of in a situation where you thought that this person was great. And then you learn later on down the road that like, wait a second, this was not what I signed up for.
Yeah. Like, what are you gonna do? Go to your boss and be like, "Oh,
Sorry, I can't work
get me
with
off
men."
this project because my husband doesn't allow me to work with men."
He's gonna be like, how about you just get off this company? Okay? Like you could go sit down.
Or he'd be like, "How old are you?"
Yeah,
Like
that's the
high
thing.
school students say stuff like that.
Very, very weird. You know, I was going to talk about something that
Yes.
like I was going through these responses and there was one thing that I was like, I think this is really important to talk about, but I didn't really see anyone bring it up. And it was a question that I feel like I would probably ask, which is, what is your relationship with your parents?
Ooh.
And the reason I say that is because I think you can tell a lot about how a person, what problems they face with their parents and issues they faced, because that shows what type of parents their parents are. Like, are they very strict? Are they like very laid back? Do you have a good relationship with your parents, right? Because a lot of the characteristics from our parents also go into us as we grow older. So I think that would be a really important one, because it kind of touches on like, what are some of the traumas that you've been through in your life?
Yeah.
So that I am more mentally prepared with, maybe this could trickle into our future.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
How will you be as a parent because of how your parents were with you? Or like, is your family the type of family that's like, we are like a huge family and everybody loves each other and we get along? Or are they the type that's like, I don't like this person, I don't like this person, I don't like this person, we don't get along, I don't talk to this person, I don't talk to this person? Then you're like, I know that that's a little bit of a red flag for me, because at some point you're like, well, you don't talk to all these people, so I mean, maybe you're the problem.
Yeah.
You know, so you have to like gauge these things,
Yeah.
because you're like, what is your dynamic in your family?
Yeah.
Do you like your mom? What were some of the hardest issues that you faced with your mom? And I think that's really important to discuss.
These are really good. So like the generic question could be, what's your relationship like with your parents?
Yeah.
And then you got to get into specifics.
Yes.
I know this is so weird. And I know, again, you will feel really vulnerable, but I feel like you need to get into the nitty gritty of the questions. Like,
Yeah.
how many times do you call your mom in the day?
Yeah.
Do you call your mom in the day? Is it once a week?
What if he's like, he calls her like 10 times? I'd be like,
Yeah.
Chug.
Lal
Good day. Lal Chanda. The way I'd be like, okay, well, see you later.
Yeah. And then you're sitting there and his mom calls.
But then I also feel like that about a girl. Like, if a girl is calling her mom like 10 times in a day, it's like, girl, get friends. Get a life. Get a life.
Girl,
like,
guilty.
cut the cord. You call your mom 10 times. I don't feel like you
call
do.
her 10 times a day, but I do call her a few times in the day.
I think a few times.
But you know what
fine.
it is? It's one of those things where I call her a few times a day to talk about absolutely nothing.
She's your friend.
That's the thing. So I'll just be like, "Kya kar rahi hai? Okay, kya banaya aapne? Okay, theek hai, main aapko bas karti hu." And then I hang. It's literally like a 30-second phone call.
Yeah, but I'm talking about like, let's say a guy's calling his mom and he has to have like 3 1-hour-long conversations with his mom about like, mom, this happened and then this happened and this happened, and like tells her everything. Or like a girl is like, and then this horrible thing, and then he did this to me, and like, I don't like that he did this, you know, like things like that. Then you're kind of like, there should be a little bit of like there should be a line.
Yeah.
With parents too sometimes.
And even with friends, like don't
Yeah,
also
yeah,
be
yeah.
calling your friend that way and
Yeah.
disclosing all
Yeah,
these things.
exactly.
You know what I mean?
I agree.
And then so ask about like how many times, for example, you call your parents in the day or whatever. Are we going to be living with your parents? Are they financially dependent on you?
That's a big
right? What was the last argument you got into with your parents?
Yeah. What is going to happen when your parents are elderly?
Yeah.
What's the deal? Like,
What's
what
the
if he's
deal?
the only son? Or like, what if it's like 2 brothers? What's happening?
Yeah.
You need to figure that out.
Yeah. If you do get into an argument with your parents, how do you resolve it? What kind of questions do you ask? Do you even resolve it, or are we just brushing things under the rug?
Yeah. And then also, like, what's the hierarchy in your house? Like, for example, if you're like 2 siblings, right? Do your parents listen more to like your younger sibling, or are they more inclined to listen to you?
Are you the black sheep?
Yes, that's a big one, because like, you know, you also don't want to be in a place where like one child is getting all this love, and just because like the second child is a black sheep, they kind of get thrown to the side, because then you going into that relationship are probably going to be like, I ain't nobody, I could give them all the love that I want, but like they ain't gonna love me.
They're never gonna love me. Or it's the opposite. You're loved so much that you end up marrying a person who is literally golden child, untouchable.
Yeah.
And then you feel like you're never enough.
Yeah, that's another
It
one.
goes both ways.
Or you don't know, or because they're the golden child, maybe you feel like I have to like always do things to say yes, yes, yes. And
Yeah.
you don't get the opportunity to say no, because you're like, no, like I have to keep this status quo going.
Or you say no, and then they're like, my son would never say no.
That's a big one.
Iski बीवी हर वक्त कहती है ऐसे.
Like he's like this because of her.
Yeah, everything is because of her.
इसलिए ये बदल गया है.
Everything is
मेरा
because of
प्यारा
her.
बेटा
वो तो कभी ना ऐसे करे.
इतना अच्छा मेरा बेटा है. You're
वो
sitting there
मुझे
like,
नहीं मना करता कभी.
yeah, for real. Like, oh, good lord.
A couple of other things that were different that I wrote down. One is, what's the situation like about traveling with friends after you're married?
Oh, that's a good one.
Both guys and
Yeah,
girls.
yeah.
That's a good question to ask.
I think the healthy answer to that, if I was going to answer, is that like people should be able to have their own lives.
100%.
Because I think if you're one of those people that's like, my whole life is this person, and that person's like, my whole life is you, then you guys, it's just like weird. Or let's say you're the type where you're like, all I want in my life is my husband. He's my best friend. And I'm sure he is. That's great. But like, if you don't have your own thing happening on the side, you're going to become that leecher wife. That's guys, I don't know where these Urdu terms are coming out. They're just rolling out. Like, I don't know where I heard that. I'm saying it now.
I love it.
You're going to be the leechered wife that's like attached to your husband all the time. And he's going to be like, I got to go hang out with my boys. I need space from you. Okay. Stop it. Stop. Okay.
Meanwhile, you're like that crazy girl from the dentist.
I just want to hold on.
What's that movie? You know in Finding Nemo, the little girl with the dentist and the braces? She's like that. You're going to be like that. Where are you going?
Oh my God. No, but you have, I always say this, have your own independent life.
Facts.
Have something happening for yourself. Have a freaking hobby and have your own group of friends. And he should do the same thing. And like, you guys should be able to like go out and travel and stuff and do fun things.
And I'm going to say it. Don't only have his friends.
Yes.
Don't only go out with his friends' wives.
Yeah.
Have your own friends. Have somebody who knows you from before you met him.
Yep.
Or like while you were dating him.
Yeah.
Or like, let's just say before the rishta process even happened.
Yeah.
Who are your friends that you knew from before? Because honestly, they're the ones who are going to fill your cup way more than anybody from his end. And that's just a reality in the friendship.
Yeah.
Right? I'm not saying don't be friends with them. I'm saying make sure you also go out with friends who knew you from before that time in your life.
Yeah. And I think like if finances allow it, you should be able to go on trips. I mean, obviously you're not going out doing crazy shit. But
What
like,
happens in Vegas?
never stays in Vegas, let me just say. I feel like you should be able to go out and like have a good time, like do a girls trip here and there. Cause I think those trips are like so beautiful. You have some of the best memories.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you honestly, guys, I'm going to say to all the men out here, girls really, really love if they can go on a girls trip after they get married.
Yeah.
Because a lot of us were not allowed to do it before we got married. And all we were told our entire life was
do it after you get married.
Shadi ke baad.
Yeah, shadi ke baad.
Shadi ke baad. Now shadi ho gayi and you're not gonna let me go?
Now I'm
let me
sitting
go.
at home.
Let me go with my friends.
I also think like, you know how they say like distance makes the heart grow fonder?
It does.
I feel like, you know, when you do go on a girls trip, like sometimes you're there and you're like, oh my God, like I really miss him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
Because
I
you're
can't wait
lying
to
in that
see him.
hotel room bed and you're like, wait, he's not
I'm
here.
so you know that's a lonely.
I am so lonely.
Yeah, and then you're like, aw, I kind of miss him.
Yeah.
And so you want to get back, and then maybe like you'll go together. You should go together. I feel like
yeah.
you should 100% plan trips together.
For sure. That's a given.
Yeah, it's a given. But I think like it's nice to have your own life outside of that because I think it fills you more as a person.
It does. And I feel like you might be able to even touch on the dating or pre-marriage phase where you like take selfies and send it to one another. Because when you're married, you stop doing all that stuff.
Damn, girl, you're just giving out these gemmy gems today.
So just to piggyback off of that,
Yeah.
I had somebody also ask, would the situation be like in terms of physical space in the home? And what I mean by that is it okay if, for example, one day, like your husband just comes up to you and says, hey, Hina, I'm going to sleep on the couch tonight.
I would be like, why? Unless he did something. Then I'd be like, what do you mean I'm gonna? You were gonna sleep there anyway. In fact, we're moving the couch outside today. Go sleep in the garage, okay? I can't deal with you. I feel like that would be a little like, why are you sleeping there?
That's what I mean. So like, what is it? You know how a lot of guys also have man caves?
Yeah.
Right? Let's say the basement space is their man cave.
Okay,
and they have
facts,
their PlayStation going or their whatever, Call of Duty. They have their headset on. They're playing games till 2 a.m. And then all of a sudden they like fall asleep on the couch.
Okay, that's fine.
Right? But then is it okay to give a designated man cave space to a man? Or do you feel like, but that's not fair because I don't have any of that in this home?
He'd be like, you got the kitchen.
The damn kitchen.
There's no TV in there.
Yo, what's kitchen in
sofa?
What's kitchen in Urdu? As my mom's calling it.
Khana. How did I know that? I don't even know how I knew that. It is that, right?
She nailed it. I don't want the Bawarchi Khana, okay?
You
I
get
don't
the
want
Bawarchi
that.
Khana and
Why do I?
He gets the sofa, the TV, everything.
And I have to stand on my feet all day cooking. With my fucking bartan. I don't want that.
Oh my god. I think that I personally like I think it's fine if he has a man cave. But like maybe you could also make yourself a space too. Like for me it's like okay, like there's certain spots in the house where you're like this is my damn sofa. Ain't nobody sitting on this sofa seat. Like I'm not gonna lie. I feel like there's one sofa seat and sometimes my nieces and nephews will come and be like move over. Like you can sit in one cushion in front. This is my spot. Like I drink my cha here.
Yo, 100% there's a spot on the sofa that Uruje sits.
Yes.
And nobody is allowed to sit on that corner because we have an L couch.
Girl.
And I want to be on the L and I want to have my tongue in in front of me on top
1,000,000%.
and the TV's right in front of me and that's my spot.
Yeah, that's my spot. And I feel like when someone is like a guest and they sit there, then you're sitting there like, fine, I'll give it to you, but I don't want to.
Yeah.
But like you need a spot.
You need a spot.
That's your woman cave.
The
Not
one
gonna
little
lie.
corner in the little
Or
L couch.
You take his man cave when he's not home. That could also work.
Yeah.
But then you're probably like, no, I want it to look like a woman cave.
Yeah, you kind of want your okay. For example, I have my Cricut machine,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And I have all my things set up or whatever. So I had to designate an area that was like considered my arts and crafts
Workspace.
area. But it ends up being a workspace. It's not like
my
a
God.
like a ladies' cave.
But I'm
Yo,
sorry.
what is a ladies?
I don't know, but I have to say something about the goddamn Cricut machine.
Oh my god. Okay, tangent.
Anybody that
welcome
has
to the
a damn Cricut, girl.
welcome to the tangent on Okay Mom. Go Hina.
Anyone that has a damn Cricut, the kura kabada that freaking machine brings with it. 12,000 things that you have to get with it. The machine is $1,000. Okay? You buy it because you're like, everybody got one. They're making some cool shit. You make cool shit for maybe a month, okay? And after that, you're like, isko to kure mein pheko. Like, I'm sick of looking at it. It's an eyesore.
The truth bombs right now.
Yo, I can't deal
It's
with
not
it.
just an eyesore. I just hate the whole aspect of trying to design something.
Oh my God.
And you can't even design everything on it. For example, I'm a Canva girly. I like
I feel
designing
you. I
things on
love
Canva,
Canva.
but you
Yeah.
can't transfer things from Canva onto the
No.
Cricut design space.
No.
And now I'm being like, this font sucks. This background sucks. There's too many layers in this cut. So how am I even gonna try and manage to put this together?
I don't even still till this day I'm like attached. Good, not good. Like, what's the deal? Like, I don't know how this thing. I use it and it's made some great things for me. But girl, for anyone that's looking to buy a Cricut, unless that's your sole primary business, please don't buy.
And I did at one point. I was making things for a whole year with my
it was
mat
cute
leave.
though. It's cute.
It was cute. I had a great time doing it, but honestly, it came to a point where it was too much work. It was
Sacrifice to the
taking
max.
too many hours to make something.
It was sacrifice.
And I was like, this is not worth it. And I'm a craft person. Like I
You
like
a crafty
making
girl.
stuff.
Yeah.
But I was like, "Ugh, I'm done with this machine. And I haven't done it's like collecting dust now.
For anyone that doesn't know what a Cricut is, it's basically this machine that you buy that cuts materials. So it'll like cut out like you can make t-shirts like with like letters on it and pictures. You can make cards and all this stuff. Her and I just decided to be stupid and buy it. And now it just sits on our desk somewhere. Sajava. Side bit. I can't even deal
I can't
with
even
it.
get over the freaking parts.
I can't either, man.
The attachments, the like different pens that you have
Oh,
to buy.
Lord.
The mats.
The mats are like,
Okay, not only are they so expensive, but like after 2 cuts, they're not sticky anymore.
Yeah.
So I'm so ghetto. I'm taking tape and I'm putting the material down and taping it down because I'm like, I can't afford a new mat right now.
honestly, they're so damn expensive. Too.
So expensive.
Everything is expensive on the damn machine.
Oh my gosh. Who gets to design the house when you move in together?
If it was me, me.
Yeah. That's a great, but you know, some guys have a
Some
really
guys
good
do have a
eye
really
for
great
design.
eye. Yeah, that's true. You know what? I think if like you know that the guy has a really good eye for design,
Yeah.
and you are also like, I know I'm really good at designing.
Yeah.
You kind of like mishmash.
You got to come together and
yeah.
find a design that's both you and him.
Yeah, I think
Right?
so too.
But like some guys are lallus and they're like buying bed sheets that don't fit the damn mattress that you have.
They're using the couples. Not in this house.
They're getting king size sheets for a queen bed. Okay. It's not fitted. So you're stuck with the kulli sheets. You wake up every morning, it's wrapped around your legs.
Oh Lord. Or they don't know what a fitted sheet is. Oh my God.
And then they're bringing
oh
their
my
takawa,
God.
those,
Oh my God.
on top of that. And you're just sitting there like, I can't believe this is the bedroom that I'm sleeping
Or
in
they
right
go
now.
back home and they grab the pillow that they used to sleep on at mom's house. And the way I would toss that pillow out, I'd be like, this shit ain't entering my house. It does not go with the clean aesthetic.
I'd be like, grow up, use a damn adult
But they
pillow.
they're very like, I like this pillow. I like the way it feels. But then it's like, you like the way it feels because that was all you got. Let's go to sleep country. Let's get you a new one. You know what I mean?
Let's get some. What do they call those? Those really like
Tempur-Pedic.
No, those ones.
Yeah, pedic, some pedic.
I was gonna say orthopedic.
We're at the age, Arun. We're at the age.
Y'all knew what I meant.
So someone said love languages. They also said politics. Politics, I don't know if that has like a huge thing unless you're like super political. Then it's like, okay, then fine. But I think love languages is super important.
Yes. You know what you could do? You could also do the test together.
Oh, I love that.
Right, that would be a cute date idea. Like go out, do the test together, and then kind of see, and then maybe give an example of, yeah, actually, this is my love language, and this is how I could show it to you in a relationship.
Yeah, like remember when we did that episode about like giving gifts?
Yeah.
And then it's like, what if you're a person that you're like, I celebrate everything. Okay, I feel like I am that girl. Okay.
Yeah.
Like holiday rolls around and it's like, well, where are we decorating? What we putting down? Like I'm like that, okay? And I'm like heavy on like, like I want to make things look beautiful and like gift giving is important, okay? But then what if you're like that and the other person's like, I don't really care about like Mother's Day.
And
I
that's
don't
me.
really care about Valentine's Day. I don't really care about like Eid. I'm not gonna give you anything.
That's me. We're the opposite ends of this scenario.
I'm sitting here like, you're telling me you don't want anything for Mother's Day?
Mother's Day is different because I'm a mom.
So
Mother's Day is different because I'm a mom.
That's
But like honestly, guys, like birthdays roll around, Valentine's roll around.
No,
I'm like,
okay. A lot of guys are like Valentine's Day is overrated. Listen, you know what? You gonna say it's overrated, then you wait the one day, you buy her the on sale chocolates the next day, but you buy her something. Like I don't know. I just feel like maybe I think it's just sweet.
It is sweet because you know
It's
what
so
people do it to
sweet.
me. I love it, but I think I'm a casual gifter.
I understand.
So I feel like I never really need an occasion. I'll randomly show up with something and be
That's
like,
cute though.
here,
I think that's
because
cute. But that's
are.
why it's important though, because like let's say that's not your love language.
Yeah.
But your love language is like spending quality time with somebody.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
and
yeah.
he's just like, I don't really think that that's that big of a deal.
Yeah.
And he's just like, well, my love language is da 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 da. And then you guys never see eye to eye on it.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I think it's so important to discuss that. It's funny. When's the first time you heard about love languages?
It's been
Recently, right?
It's
Me
recent.
too.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'd say like a few years ago.
Yeah.
But when I actually like read into it, I was like, this makes a lot of sense.
Exactly.
A lot of sense.
And you have to understand when you're in a relationship, you've got to compromise both
Yeah,
ways, guy
yeah.
and girl.
Yeah.
And when you understand somebody's love languages, you will compromise to meet that love
think
language,
so
to make
too.
sure that her or his cup is full.
Yeah.
So even though I'm not a gifter, let's say you and I
Yeah.
are like really good friends and I
Yeah.
know your love language is gifting,
Yeah.
but I will go out of my way to consciously make sure that our friendship stays top tier because I
yeah.
want to fill your cup in that sense.
Yeah.
Right. But if my love language is, let's say, quality time, then don't just sit on the couch with me and we both are on our phones.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Big
Look
on that.
over, let's have a conversation. And like, here I am trying to get a conversation out of you.
Yeah.
So I'm like, how was your day? How was your commute?
Yeah.
How was work?
Tell me about.
I'm like
Let's
naming
talk.
your coworkers. Like, how's like so and so? How's like Bob the Builder doing? You know? Right?
How is Bob today?
And this is me trying to get it out of you because I want to spend quality time with you. And you've been working an 8-hour shift, so come and talk to me about it.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
But if you're not even going to make that effort, then I'm going to feel depleted.
Yeah. And you know what? In the beginning of the relationship, it's all like little sunshine daisies, We're all
yeah.
like, we love you so much. It's all that.
Mm-hmm.
And then like you get comfortable and all of that kind of like dissipates. So like you have to kind of know and you have to kind of keep the spark alive.
100%.
I also think that I think it's so important to like keep the romance alive.
I agree.
Cause like it's like you don't have to like it's not gonna be the same. There's like ebbs and flows in relationships. But I think like you should genuinely like plan a date night.
Yes.
Every month there should be like these 2 weeks we're going on a date night. Or like every Friday we go out for dinner together. And it's just you and me.
Yeah.
If y'all have kids, the kids are at home. They don't need to come on the damn date night with you, okay?
Men, have some break away from the kids.
1,000,000%.
You know, there are some people that just don't, no matter what happens, everybody's coming. The whole tubber is coming. Yeah, ek do dafa ho gaya, but honestly, like, just take some time away from that.
need
you
it.
might feel so much better.
Yeah, because you get that time to like connect with each other. And I think
Yeah.
sometimes what happens is when you're like in the middle of like the children phase. Okay. You just had kids, shit's hitting the fan. Like you might even go out for dinner and like you sit there and you talk about your kids. But the fact that you have silence, you get to enjoy a meal together with other people in the background. Someone's asking you like, hello, sir, what would you like to, or, you know, like
someone's coming and refilling your body cup.
Someone pulled the chair out for you.
Somebody handed you a menu and you don't need to stand in your board.
Exactly. I'm telling you, like, it's like a game changer. I also think like sometimes you just have fun conversations, or you'll be like, you know, I didn't really like you get the time to just be like, I didn't really like that you did this, or like, you know, I really wish that you'd spend more time with me, or like whatever it is.
Yeah.
I just think it makes your relationship stronger.
It does. And like, honestly, kids are great. Nobody's saying that they're not great, but just take a break from it because they're gonna be in your life forever.
They're good. And you want to know the other thing? They're eventually gonna get married and leave your house.
Yep.
Okay, but you want to know who ain't? The man or the woman that you're married to.
Yeah, for
okay,
real.
You're there
gonna be like
forever.
60, 70 years old sitting beside each other. And if you haven't made that connection during the hard times when you were honestly suffocated with parenthood, it's going to be so difficult to try and do that in your elderly.
100%. And I was reading this thing where they were saying, oh, like they asked, like it was a poll.
Yeah.
Like, who do you put first, your spouse or your children?
Yeah.
And like a lot of people would say children.
Yeah.
But then it turned out that it should be your spouse because once you fill each other's cup, then both of you will be better parents for it.
Right.
And so I was like, that's so true. And I think we all just think the opposite because our parents have taught us the opposite.
And because that's mostly what they did.
Yeah. That's mostly what they did. But I think like, honestly, like, I think it's so important to keep the romance alive and like genuinely, like even in the chaos of parenthood, like plan the date night and that's your set date night unless like someone's losing a limb.
Yeah.
Like, then it's different.
Yeah.
Okay. Like if it's an emergency, then you change the date night. But normally like you pre-plan it, you know that that's a date night, set it, it's set. And then you guys actually go out and do something.
And you know, guys, you can only do like even once a month is fine. It doesn't have to be excessive.
Yeah.
If you are really just, for example, you have nowhere to put the kids.
Yeah.
Okay. You have no babysitter. You have nothing. Then maybe try and see if you can do it during the day where you can have like a family member just come, or you can drop them off somewhere or whatever. Like do some, or like let's say if you get a chance to put your kids in daycare and you've got a few hours during the day, then honestly, just ask him, be like, yo, just take an hour lunch off. I will come meet you somewhere and just do that. I feel like there's ways around it, but I feel like it can be difficult to plan it. And this is why some people avoid it.
Yeah.
But if you can just put in a little bit of an effort to make that plan, you can make it happen.
100%. I also think it doesn't have to necessarily be you go out to dinner. Like, what if you guys like go to the gym together? What if you go for an hour walk together? Just spending quality time with each other. That's, I think, the main thing of it, because I think it'll strengthen your relationship.
I agree 100%. All right, guys, this is a great episode.
A great one.
Thank you for tuning in. We hope some of this has helped. We haven't really brushed on a lot of the questions you sent us because we got a lot.
So many.
So this might end up being a part 1, 2, like a lot of our episodes. But Hina, go ahead and...
So guys, as we say, make sure you guys subscribe to our channel. We're trying to hit that 10K. If we're already there, get us to 20K, please. We are going to be giving back. Don't you worry. Okay. And also make sure you guys follow us on Instagram, on TikTok. Make sure you guys give us the 5 stars on Apple Podcast, on Spotify, and we will see you guys next time. Bye.